Now it's time to build on our success and cut costs further for families. That's what my Build Back Better plan does. It will lower out-of-pocket costs for child care, elder care, housing, college, health care, and prescription drugs. These are the biggest costs that most families face. In fact, a new independent analysis released today showed that my Build Back Better plan would mean $7,400 in tax cuts and savings for the typical family with four kids, the typical family of four with two kids. 17 Nobel laureate winners in the Nobel economic winners have written a letter affirming that this bill will reduce inflationary pressure in the economy. Two of the leading rating agencies on Wall Street confirmed this month that my plan will not add to inflationary pressures. In fact, they will, quote, take the edge off of inflation. Now my Republican friends are talking a lot about prices, but they're lined up against my Build Back Better plan, which would go right at the problem for rising costs for families. Why is that? I don't want to speculate on anyone's motive, but it's always easier to complain about a problem than to try to fix it. One Republican senator even said that rising prices were, quote, a gold mine, end of quote, for Republicans politically. Imagine rooting for a higher cost for American families just to score a few political points. The fact is, the Build Back Better plan is fiscally responsible. It's the first major piece of legislation in more than a decade that is not only fully paid for, but will generate more than $100 billion in deficit reduction. It fully covers the cost of its investments by making the largest corporations and the richest Americans pay a little more in taxes. Think about that, as that's a trade-off worth making, in my view. Having those who have done very well pay their fair share in order to provide a little breathing room for millions of American families. But my critics don't seem to agree. They have a lot of speeches about high prices, supply chain, and other challenges we're facing, but they don't offer any answers. So they're just doing the no vote. That's their plan, vote no. But what does that mean? What does a no vote mean on this bill? Not on cable news, not on Fox, not in the real world, in your life, around your kitchen table. Well, here's what it's going to mean. It means for millions of American families, this bill, that the bills you're paying right now for daycare could be substantially lowered, capped at 7% of your income. But Republicans said no, pay more. It means the bills you're paying right now to take care of your elderly parent could have been lower, a lot lower. But Republicans said, no, don't vote for this bill, pay more. It means the cost of your prescription drugs could have been lower, a lot lower. But Republicans think that those 200,000 children, for example, who need regular doses of insulin should continue to pay as much as $1,000 a month instead of $35 a month. Think of that. Not only affects the health of the child and the family, but imagine you're being a parent and not being able to afford $1,000 a month. Not only risks the health of your child, but it robs you of your dignity. The list goes on, but the point's the same. What I propose is a way to lower some of the most difficult costs families have to pay every month by asking big corporations, 40 of the Fortune 500 companies paid zero in taxes, making $40 billion in the process. And the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share in taxes. Look, remember, we're in a situation, as far as Republicans are concerned, they'd rather the bills at your kitchen table be higher so the tax bills of corporate conference rooms and big mansions can be lower. In this case, let me tell you something. Nothing will be more expensive for American families than a no vote on the Build Back Better plan. I believe we simply can't afford to do nothing and wait and see what happens. In the moments we face today, that just isn't a responsible course. We live in uncertain times. Families are anxious about COVID, the economy, the cost of living. And the way to relieve that anxiety is with consistent, determined, focused action. I started my presidency with the American Rescue Plan. Now that law is carrying our nation forward on vaccinations, boosters, keeping our schools open, and so much more. I designed it as a year-long plan because I knew we'd have a lot of obstacles to overcome. Next, we passed the bipartisan infrastructure law because a lot of our infrastructure is crumbling. We have to prepare ourselves to compete and win the 21st century global economy. For most of the 20th century, we led the world by a significant margin because we invested in ourselves, not only in our roads and highways and bridges, but in our people and our families. We built the interstate highway system. We invested to win the space race. We were among the first to provide access to free education beginning back in the late 1800s. These decisions to invest in our country and our families were a major reason why we were able to lead the world for much of the last century. But somewhere along the way, we stopped investing in ourselves. America is still the largest economy in the world. We still have the most productive workers and the most innovative minds in the world. But we've risked losing our edge as a nation. Our infrastructure used to be the best in the world. Today, according to the World Economic Forum, we rank 13th. And we have to invest in our greatest asset as well, our people. For example, we used to lead the world in educational achievement. Now the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development ranks America 35 out of 37 major countries when it comes to investing in early childhood education and care. We can't be competitive in the 21st century global economy if we continue to slide. One of the reasons I believe so firmly in this is because I know what this country can be. We've always been a nation of possibilities. We didn't become this nation we know by dreaming small. Throughout our history, we've emerged from crisis by investing in ourselves. During and after the Civil War, we built the Transcontinental Railroad, uniting America. During the Cold War, we built the interstate highway system, transforming the way Americans are able to live their lives. And now we'll build the economy for the 21st century. I truly believe that 50 years from now, when historians look back on this moment, they're going to say this was the beginning of the moment when America won the competition for the 21st century. I think that's what we're going to see happen, God willing. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.